just read the profound and intense account of Jesus' passion and death. Most of us have heard the story many times from the 4 different gospel versions, so much so that we may know the story by heart. And we've all heard many sermons on the Passion. I've preached a bunch myself. After all we've heard this morning, it seems to me we don't need more words from the preacher. So I want to share with you a true story, a story you may already know, hopefully to connect the Passion with real life. 64 years ago, in 1960, a little 6-year-old girl named Ruby Bridges walked into William Frantz Elementary School in New Orleans. You all know the story. Her walk into that school, surrounded by federal marshals, which later was immortalized in a Norman Rockwell painting, signaled a major effort in desegregating the schools in the South. Before her first day of first grade had ended, all the white children and teachers were gone, except for one. Ruby learned alone that year by the one teacher who stayed. Huge crowds of protesters gathered daily around the school outside to shout slurs and death threats at this child. If you've seen film clips from the day, they're pretty dark, ugly, and difficult to watch. Throngs of white, angry people waved Confederate flags, and some even shoved before Ruby a small casket, a small coffin with a black doll inside. These expressions of public hatred remind us how unrestrained fear can quickly spiral into mob mentality. Robert Coles, he's still alive. He's a 95-year-old psychiatrist who specialized in serving children. He's written a number of important books about the lives of children, and he volunteered to support and counsel Ruby and her family during this difficult time. This child's display of strength and stoicism and bright cheer in the midst of the daily hell she was going through caught his attention and puzzled him. So he began to meet with her every week. One day, Ruby's teacher told Coles that she'd noticed Ruby moving her lips as she was walking to school. So Coles asked her, "Who were you talking to, Ruby?" She said, "I was talking to God and praying for the people in the street." "Why were you doing that?" he asked. "Well," she said, "because I wanted to pray for them. Don't you think they need praying for?" He agreed, of course, but he pushed her further a little bit, and he said, "Well, where did you learn that?" She answered, "From my mommy and daddy and from the minister at church. I pray every morning when I come to school and every afternoon when I go home." So the psychiatrist continued, "But Ruby, those people are so mean to you. You must have some feelings besides wanting to pray for them." "No," she said, "I just keep praying for them and hope God will be good to them. I always pray the same thing. Please, dear God, forgive them because they don't know what they're doing." Two profound impressions arise from that little exchange. We notice the beautiful witness of that 6-year-old little girl with biblical truths embedded deep in her character. From parents who could neither read nor write, Ruby absorbed that scripture that she had memorized and learned in church and exercised at home. She discovered through her parents how to put those truths into practice. I wonder how many of us could come close to a life so thoroughly grounded in God. And secondly, her choice of prayer language points to love being at the heart of forgiveness. Jesus' remarkable words from the cross when he asks for forgiveness for his persecutors show us the pure love doled out to people who had insulted him and become enmeshed in the fear of each other. Perhaps this Holy Week, we ought to pray those words that Jesus prayed ourselves, speaking with the confident spirit of Ruby Bridges. Please, God, dear God, forgive us, because we don't know what we're doing.